Cheers! This is actually a coffee cup that I bought in 2017 in Arizona at the Petrified Forest National Park. It's one of my favorite coffee cups. I really like it. On the back there's a picture of John Muir and a little quote from John Muir. It says, "Few are altogether deaf to the preaching of pine trees, and if people in general could be got into the woods, even for once, to hear the trees speak for themselves, all difficulties in the way of forest preservation would vanish." So, stuff happens, you know. I needed some water. Now to continue with my video. Hello, my precious book-loving friends. This is Linda Jo Martin, the Book Lady, and I'm going to start this video with a September 2018 wrap-up, moving on to a few other things about things I've been doing lately and things I plan to do in the future, and we'll wrap up the video with the October TBR. Kind of put it all in one video. Not that I don't want to make more videos for you, because I do. In fact, it's sort of a goal of mine for October to make at least one video a week for this channel. Anyhow, September 2018 wrap up. I did read this book. I've mentioned it in a couple of other videos. This is The Life We Bury by Eskins. I was attracted to this because it tells the story of a Vietnam War veteran, and I've read so many World War II novels lately. I thought it would be nice to do something with the Vietnam War, and it was pretty good. It was actually a award winner. It won the Left Coast Crime Rosebud Award for Best Debut Mystery. It also was the finalist in 5 other contests. The Edgar Awards, First Best Novel category, Minnesota Book Award, Best Genre Novel, Anthony Award, Best First Novel, Barry Award, First Paperback Original, and the ITW Thriller Awards, Best First Novel. So it was a finalist in all 5 of those. So a lot of people liked and appreciated this novel, and I did too. The main characters were pretty young, but of course the Vietnam veteran was rather old, and he was like a suspect in a murder. So there was a lot of flashbacks to his time in Vietnam. I would give this book maybe 4 or 4.5 stars. It was really close to a 5-star read for me. I don't know. 5 stars, man, you have to be really good to get a 5-star rating, really. And sometimes I give them out when they're not totally deserved, but this one was definitely close. It was a good first novel. I believe it was a first novel or a second novel for the author. So I recommend it. The second book that I finished reading is Salt to the Sea by Ruta Sepetys. I know last time I mentioned this book in a video, I didn't know how to say her last name, but it is Sepetys, not Sepetys, as I had formerly said. And Salt to the Sea is a World War II novel. It's about Lithuanian and Prussian and Polish refugees trying to get into Germany at the end of the war because the Russians were coming. So it was violent in parts and sad stuff happened. The whole thing was sad, really, from beginning to end, because they were refugees and truly having a difficult time. But this was very well written, and I very much recommend it to anyone at all. Another book I finished reading is Penned Without Ink. It is a Christian memoir about a woman who was Christian, and she and her family got into an automobile accident on the Pennsylvania Turnpike in the fog. And this is her memoir about it. It was actually an award-winning novel also. It won the Feathered Quill Book Award in 2017. I will probably review this one on my Christian channel, which is called Redeemed in Love, here on YouTube. So the next one I read, well, I didn't finish any other books, to tell you the truth, but here's my Kindle, and I've been reading Pride and Prejudice, and I'm not very far into it, maybe about 15% into it right now, but it's Jane Austen, what can I say? This is the first time I've ever read Pride and Prejudice, and my main motivation for reading it is that it's on so many lists of classic books we must read, like 100 classics you must read before you die, and so I have not read Pride and Prejudice, and I think it would have actually been more exciting for me if I had read it as a teenager or a very young adult, because it's all about getting into relationships and social priorities, and I'm just not into that. Now, I put that on my reading list for this year because I'm doing the Pop Sugar Reading Challenge for 2018, and one of the prompts was to read a book that I have already seen a movie version of, and I did see one movie version of Pride and Prejudice, and to tell you the truth, it was really confusing to me, and I think if I had read the book first, I would have enjoyed it a lot more. So, at least with the book, I can follow along with what's going on a lot better. She gets pretty philosophical at times, so it's not a hard book to read, it's just going to be kind of time-consuming. And I recently also read Emma, which is another book she wrote, and it was sort of the same feeling. Yeah. Emma, however, I really didn't like the main character at first, but the characters in Pride and Prejudice are not that bad so far. So the last book that I was going to read this month is People of the Book, and I've only read the first chapter. It was kind of interesting, and I took a few notes. I'll read you a little something from my notes. I like having a notebook for book notes. The book is People of the Book by Geraldine Brooks, published in 2008 by Penguin Books, inspired by real events, although the plot and characters are fictional. It starts in Sarajevo in the spring of 1996. There is a war happening at that time in that location. The main character is Dr. Hannah Heath, and she is there in Sarajevo to examine ancient manuscript that has been discovered. And I copied down a paragraph because I thought it was very nicely written, good description, and this is that paragraph. Restless, I walked to the windows. We were on the top floor of the bank, an Austro-Hungarian wedding cake of a building whose stuccoed facade was speckled with mortar pockmarks, just like every other structure in the city. When I put my hand on the glass, the cold seeped through. So, I'm kind of reading this simultaneously with Pride and Prejudice. Now, Pride and Prejudice is my bedtime book, and so I don't read very much every day because I get tired and go to sleep while I'm reading it. And this one I'm reading at my desk. So that's my wrap up for 2018, September 2018. And next, I thought it would be fun to do an unboxing. I got a little box recently from Amazon. In fact, it just came to my door a few minutes ago, and I thought it would be fun to just take the stuff out of the box and show you what Linda, the book lady, got from Amazon today. Well, the first thing I got, and really the largest thing in there, is raw organic protein powder from a company called Garden of Life. I've never tried this before, but it was recommended to me, and it is like vegan, made without dairy or soy ingredients. has probiotics and enzymes, non-GMO, all that good stuff. So it's chocolate flavor. Start with chocolate flavor, why not? They also have like vanilla flavor. They have a couple of other varieties. So the next thing I got, and I hope this works for me, this is a camera mounting device to put on the dashboard. That's about all I know. A complete line of mounting solutions and accessories. And I got that because I'm going to be doing travel videos, and I thought it would be nice to have the camera mounted on the dashboard instead of having to hold it in my hand. Next thing I got is crafter's tape, which I'm using. Remember my mixed media junk journal and yeah, crafter's tape. I'm going to be using that on my other channel, which is the channel that just has my name on it, Linda Jo Martin, and I do craft projects on that channel. And then the last thing I got, wouldn't you know it, it's a book. It's a book. So this particular book is How to Live in a Car, Van, or RV and Get Out of Debt, Travel, and Find True Freedom by Bob Wells, who is a YouTuber, and he has a big website called Cheap RV Living. And I thought, it doesn't look like a very long book, but I think living in a car or a van is pretty easy. You just get into it and you give up your apartment, and then there you are. And you deal with it, right? But he's been doing it for a long time, maybe like 15 years or something. So he wrote a book about it, and I'm going to read his book. So that's all I got from Amazon today. And I wanted to show you my Threads of Hope. This little bracelet thing is called Threads of Hope. I just got this a few days ago because I went to a food packing event in Spokane Valley, and it was a mobile food packing event. The organization that did the food packing event is called Feed My Starving Children, and it is a Christian organization. However, I think anyone, Christian or non-Christian, can go in there and pack food. I don't think that they would mind because, well, when I got there, they did not check my Christian credentials at the door, and I don't even know how they would do that. They might ask me if I could agree with the Nicene Creed, and I'd have to admit that I have to go look it up on Wikipedia to make sure. So, but they didn't do anything like that, really. So basically, you go in there and you get to help them pack food for 2 hours. And the food goes to starving children in a lot of countries around the world. I think there's over 70 countries that they're sending these to. And I certainly do hope they're sending them to Yemen. I worry so much about little children in war-torn countries that don't have enough food to eat. So these packets of food are put together right there in the mobile pack events. And also they have 5 permanent packing sites throughout the United States. And so I thought I'd tell you about it because I thought it was such a wonderful way to be able to actually do something to help those little children that are starving in developing and war-torn countries. I mean, we all think about those poor starving children. We see pictures of children that are starving. Children are dying because of not having enough to eat. It's just a horrible thing. So I thought I'd tell you about it because maybe somebody else might want to do it. And I have to say, it was a lot of fun. I went in there and they had a little orientation to tell us how we were going to do it and what we needed to do, certain procedures we had to follow. And then we went into the other room where the packing took place, and everybody got to choose a station. Each group of tables had 2 people that were putting the food into a funnel. The food consisted of vegetable flakes, vitamins, soy flakes, I believe, and rice. So they would put the food into a funnel, and then somebody else would take the bag at the bottom of the funnel and weigh it. And the third group would actually seal the bags. One person would hold the bag and the other person would seal it with a heat sealing machine. And then they would hand them off to the people who were going to box them. And that was me. I was a boxer, and I had to count 36 bags and put them in a box. And I did that with a friend of mine. So really, it was less than 36 that I actually did for each box. But we filled together 19 boxes in the time that I was in there. I was so excited about that. And then afterwards, they told us that they had a little store there with things that people in those countries had made. And they showed us this Threads of Hope thing. And apparently these are made by women in the Philippines so that they won't have to go work in the, what do you call it, industry, the bad industry, you know. Because a lot of women, they don't have enough money, and so they have to sell their bodies to make money for their family. And the people who are making these little bracelets, they are doing that instead so they can make money for their families. And so I thought I would help their effort by buying one of their products. And I also bought something else from Africa, but I don't want to show it to you because I'm going to send it as a gift to one of my children, and so I can't show it to you in the video, sorry. Anyhow, it was nice to get some international gifts for my family, and to be able just to do something for all those starving children that I worry about all the time because, well, I just have such a lot of sadness whenever I think about children that cannot eat because there's not enough food. And there are, sadly, really a lot of children that are in that situation. So let's talk about the TBR. TBR for October. Of course, I'm going to finish Pride and Prejudice and People of the Book. That's my primary goal for reading in October. And I am going to choose one more title out of the little jar and see what I'm going to be reading next if I get those two finished, which I hope I will. So the next one is Gulliver's Travels. I have to finish Gulliver's Travels. That's so true. I'm pretty close to the end of that book, and it's also a Kindle book, so I'm going to go ahead and pick another one. So here's a fourth title for October, and it is The Nightingale. I'm not going to get through this in October. I can tell you that right now. Here's why I know. It's a really thick book. I've heard it's a really good book. I know I'm going to enjoy reading it, but it's a thick book. So I'm not going to finish it in October, especially since I have other books to read first. So that's my video, and hopefully I'll come back with something else completely different next week. Thank you for listening to my video. Thanks for joining me on my reading journey. Please let me know what your favorite book is out of all of these in case you have read any of them. And also let me know what you're reading right now. I would love to hear about that. And if you're new here, please subscribe, click the like button. I know I'm always supposed to say these things at the end of the video and I always don't. So I'm trying to change my ways and mention subscribe, like button, and what else? Oh, leave a comment. I love your comments. Love your comments very much. So thank you for coming. Thank you for listening, and I will talk to you in another video. Bye.